All right, good morning for the third time today. It's still Wednesday. We're still in the Wyoming house, in the office. This is part 7 of our Weight Loss Wisdom series. Again, I'm pushing these a little bit hard. Normally, I wouldn't drop 3 or 4 of these in a day, but I want to wrap it up. See if you guys have questions or problems or concerns or whatever comes back from you guys over the rest of today and tomorrow. And then I kind of have to go silent. I'm pretty much on the road on Friday with my boy Friday night through Monday morning, and then I'm on the road all day Monday all the way into Tuesday noon. And then when I'm get to DC, Maryland, noonish on Tuesday, I'm not going to be in any frame of mind to do videos or anything. So it won't be until Wednesday that I can come back. So anyway, this is part 7. I've created a playlist, Weight Loss Wisdom. All the parts are there now. All the 6 I've done or 7 I've done are there. And this one will go up as well. Okay, so this is part 7. We're moving now. We've moved out of the beginning through the intermediate, through the advanced, and then this is what I'm calling the mastering phase. Again, I completely made up these names just so I could have phases. Doesn't really mean anything. We are now in the master phase. We should be entering month 4 now. I mean, you literally have 12 weeks now of continuous consistency building up through, right? Please don't jump into this phase. All right, so mastering phase, what does it take to go from the advanced phase into the master phase? What does it take to go from the 3rd month into the 4th month of this process? And that will be to leave everything as you're doing them now coming out of the advanced phase. You're eating 1 meal a day. Your eating window is probably 30 minutes a day. You're drinking 4 quarts of water every day. You consume no alcohol. You consume no sugar. You consume no carbs. You've moved blueberries, walnuts, meat into into what you eat, eggs, hard cheeses, salad. And you've done that now for so long. You have now created a new lifestyle. If you're trying to move into this mastering phase, that means you have created a new lifestyle. You have 90 days behind you. Your body's used to this. Any sort of energy issues you had, any sort of sleep issues you've had have all gone behind you now. And so the next phase is to skip that 1 meal a day and actually create a 48-hour fast, and then eventually a 72-hour fast. And eventually you want to get to the point by the end of this phase where you're doing that once a week. So once a week you don't eat anything, and you create that 48-hour. Just by skipping the 1 30-minute window, you get a 48-hour fast. That's why it's so important to follow these phases. Because sitting here and talking about, if you haven't done anything, you're just going to jump into a 72-hour fast. That's brutal, and you probably won't want to do it again. You certainly won't want to do it again next Monday. And so, anyway, you want to make at least once a week. You skip that meal and you create a 48-hour fast. At this point, I actually do it. I skip 1, or sometimes I skip 2 on a fairly regular basis. I barely even notice anymore. I call it going to bed empty. Going to bed empty with that shot that I told you about, that olive oil honey shot. You have all those chia seeds in you. You have all that water in you. You go to bed empty with that shot in you. It transforms what happens to your body overnight. You can actually lose weight overnight. It's kind of crazy. So that's the first part of entering the master phase. You've done all the work for 90 days up to now, and now you're simply going to skip that 30-minute meal window. I would recommend once a week, and every now and then, maybe every other week, you skip it 2 days in a row. So 1 week you have a 48-hour fast, the next week you have a 72-hour fast, and just kind of make that part of your lifestyle now. The other thing you notice, you need to start noticing when you're full, because lots of times we just eat. We prepare something, or something's prepared for us. We go out to a restaurant, our wives cook for us, we cook, our kids cook for us, and it gets laid in front of you, you just eat it. And at this point, you want to get a sense of, hey, you know what, I'm kind of full. And I found myself eating 2/3 of the chef salad now instead of the whole salad. I leave part of the steak I've ordered on the plate. I don't eat my full meal anymore. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I have to listen to my body and go, I've had a really empty week. I did some fishing, or I did some golfing, or I did some work on the property, and my body's hungry. And so I eat the whole thing, and sometimes I have to add something onto it. But many times now, guys, if your body's used to this and you're 90 days and then eventually 100, 120 days into this process, your body requires less stuff to be put into your mouth. And as crazy as that sounds, even after you've done this for a few months now, you start to eat and you go, wow, I'm full, quit eating. So that's the second part. All right. So you can throw some fasting in, and you're going to get a sense every meal you eat, every time you eat, you go, wow, do I need this next bite or not? Leave the bite alone, leave it on the plate, be done, put everything away and just be done. Declare victory, and just be aware. So that's the second thing that's required to enter into this advanced phase. I hate jargon, but I mean, that's called portion control. I don't even like that word, but anyway, that's the buzzword out in the industry when you do go into the weight loss world is, you got to take control of your portion control. And I just prefer to say, hey, I notice my body's kind of telling me I'm pretty full. I can just stop. I don't even need this next bite. But anyway, kind of try to clear up jargon, so I thought I better bring that up. All right, so the next part is, I realize now I'm 4 months in. I've watched. Hopefully, you watched 100 shorts and 100 videos on the reference channels. You're getting a sense of what the industry, at least the guys I follow, and maybe you found some of your own, but they're going to recommend things. And so the next thing I did at this stage was to start adding in, changing things, changing the products I use in my daily prep. And so I've talked about way back in the beginning phase, I said you got to get rid of salt. And this is the actual salt I use. It's called Redmond's Real Salt. And anyway, I use this. If I need salt, this is what I use. My pepper's pretty basic. I don't think I do anything special. Just McCormick. I grind it, fresh ground. So those are the two basics. But then I started adding something to my coffee, MCT oil. So I started adding this, organic MCT oil. And I guess that's the brand. Glass bottle, not plastic. And we'll talk about that in a minute. The other thing I switched is I got rid of, I don't cook with butter anymore, and I've switched to ghee. So it's organic, but you can see right here. Again, in a glass bottle. This is what I cook with now. The other thing is I'm switching. I showed you my other honey, but I've switched to this type of honey. And again, in a glass bottle. If I feel like I need a little more spice, I just put some spicy garlic. Again, it's fresh ground. So that's another thing I started to add. And then the last thing I'm starting to add, I'm just doing this now, is I'm adding apple cider vinegar with Mother. This is the brand I use. And again, glass. So anyway, those are things you can start adding. The MCT oil, I had 2 tablespoons to my thermos of 3 mugs. So I'm not quite at a tablespoon per cup. It does change the feel. It feels oily. I can taste the oil a little bit. So it took me a while to get used to that, but I do it every day, and it's just my coffee tastes different, but I'm used to it. But we're adding very healthy fats and oils back into our diet now, or into our diet. So it's more refining and honing at this point. We're not making major changes, but it's continuing down the path of improving what we put into our bodies. And so the last part of moving into the advanced phase is kind of what I was just showing you. Not only the supplements and the things I'm changing, what I cook with and all, but the containers they come. Because the other thing I've come to believe over the last 6 months is reducing the amount of plastics that I put into my body is important. The microplastics, they do get it. They mess up the way our bodies work. So if I can just work hard to reduce the amount of stuff I buy and store and consume from plastics, the better. And that's why I switched to, this is my water bottle, right? It's just a mason. In fact, I used to have tobacco in it. I washed it out. So I drink out of glass every day. My MCT oil is out of glass. My ghee is out of glass. My honey's out of glass. My apple cider vinegar is out of glass. So that cut down, unbelievably, the amount of plastics that are surrounding me. It'll take months or years probably for the plastics, if ever, to come out of my organs and my body. But at least I've stopped putting them in. All right, guys, that's it. That wraps up part 7. You're now kind of educated. You're really up through the end of month 4 now. I mean, truly, what is that? 16, 17 weeks. And you're really starting to hone. Your body is much different. Your eating is completely transformed. You're just making, you've made 4 months of great life changes. And I know I was down 30, 40 pounds by now. So anyway, that wraps up part 7. And I think we only have one more to go in the series. And we'll see you in part 8.